am I the asshole for yelling at my daughter? No, and that her mom isn't here.
I mean, fuck it, I'm down. It doesn't really matter. I'll say, yeah, you're the asshole.
All right. What are you saying, John?
I'm going with the same. Yeah. Yelling at your daughter's not great. And I don't know what the situation is. Like,
yeah, rubbing the fact in that their mom isn't there doesn't
is not
feel
there.
great
Like,
either.
are they divorced? Is the mother passed? Like, I think, yeah, from what Sean said, I think the dad was like rubbing in their face.
If the mother's passed, that is so
That'd even be more worse.
evil. That feels so terrible.
I'm hoping it's just a divorce.
Yeah. Or just maybe not even divorce. Maybe just on a trip.
Damn, that would be the better option.
The best scenario would just be she's on a bachelorette party.
She just went to the store.
Yeah.
She'll be back in 3 hours.
And they haven't seen her for days. No.
Fuck.
No, she went to get milk.
Oh, God.
All right. Well, this one does get sad, so buckle up for that.
Well, she died.
I left at the end, so if you want to keep your Friday happy, you skip this story. But for everyone else, let's hop into it. So I, 40 male, have a daughter, Clara, 8 female. My wife, Jenna, just recently passed away, and I've been struggling with it. These past few months, Clara has been really difficult to deal with. She often throws temper tantrums anytime we go out or whenever I ask her to do something. Yesterday night, I was putting Clara to bed, and she demanded I tuck her favorite teddy bear into her bed like her mom does. I told her no and went to leave the room. She then got out of bed, started screaming and demanding I do it like mom, and that she wanted her mom to do it, and why couldn't mom be here to do it? I lost my temper and screamed at her no, and that her mom isn't here anymore, and that she needs to accept it and stop acting like a baby.
She's 8.
She's barely not a baby, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I slammed her door and went down to the living room to cool off, and when I was heading to bed, I could hear her sobbing through the door, but I decided to just let her be. Holy fuck, dude.
Christ.
The morning I called my mother-in-law to come take Clara off my hands for a while. As I was putting her suitcase in the trunk of my mother-in-law's car, I noticed her favorite teddy bear wasn't there. I ran back into the house to go get it for her. I came back out and tried to give her the teddy bear, but she completely ignored me and wouldn't take it. Later, my neighbor, Jim, 52 male, came over and asked to borrow my lawnmower. I thought since he has kids himself, he would understand my point of view. He said what I did was dumb and Clara is struggling too.
That's facts.
Jim.
Yeah.
We stand Jim.
I thought Jim was going to accidentally run over that teddy bear with the lawnmower.
Oh, shit.
That's where my mind was going. I was like, not the bear.
Jim's coming in to drop
Jimothy, why would you do this?
Yeah. I don't think Clara quite understands what's happening and is deciding to act out for the sake of doing so. But am I the asshole?
Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody grieves their own way. So it's, hard to fucking call someone the asshole whenever they're in the grieving process. But that's your daughter who's also fucking grieving. Like, you may think that she doesn't understand, but I'm pretty sure she realizes, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, 8 years old, they definitely understand.
Yeah. I mean,
You know?
I've been in a similar situation. I've mentioned on early days of the podcast before. And my nieces and nephews were ages like, I don't know, like 2 to 8 at that point. And they all, knew. And really I was at the hospital, sort of when everything was going down, and like the doctors, or from what I remember, I might not have been there for this part, but the doctors told my sister and her husband, like, hey, whenever this happened, they give a coach talk on how to talk to your kids essentially when this thing happens. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's not really, if the kid doesn't understand, that's more so on whoever told the kid. But I'm pretty sure, like, I've seen 8 and younger understand the concept of what has happened. And, she's going through it. This is all just to say, like, she probably knows what's going on and she's going through it as well. So don't, in your own grief, make your daughter's grief even worse, I guess. It's a terrible situation what you're dealing with. But you gotta remember that it's not just you dealing with it. It's everyone.
Yeah.
Not just you and your daughter, your parents and laws, everybody, your family. I assume, they knew your wife and loved your wife. So it's tough. It sucks to sit here and, call you an asshole because, you're going through it. And you're not always in control of your emotions when you're in this kind of situation. So things you kind of lash out, but you got to remember, like, what would your wife want? You know what I mean? She definitely doesn't want you fucking traumatizing y'all's kid. So obviously not good. And like, I know you're grieving, but she asked you for like a very minimal, just tuck her in bed with a toy. Like, I know she gets on your nerves, but at the end of the day, she's a kid who's also going through some shit. So she's going to be in moods, I'm sure, just like you are clearly in moods. So it's a tough situation, but you really let yourself and let your daughter down there.
Yeah.
100%.
I gotta agree with Sean. Like it is hard to call like the dad the asshole for a situation. I think it's more like a situation. I think it's more frustration than being an asshole at this point. I've been there, and I think I'm actually both experienced what the daughter was going through as well as what the father was going through. You know, like well documented. Like the past 2 years has not been like really the best for me in terms of like what. Dealing with losses. I feel for the daughter because I was like that, you know, like periods of time when like my dad did certain things, and let's just use food for example. So I know like one time I kind of went off the gasket because like he makes certain things a certain way, and then when I tried it elsewhere, I'm just like, oh, it's not the same, you know. I mean, it's something as little as like for the daughter, it's like getting tucked in bed. It's just and just having that bear. For me, it was just like, you know, just experiencing things that my dad did. And for me, like, even as an adult, I found it hard to like understand that, oh shit, he's really not here. Like he's really gone. Like sometimes there's a lot of times when I caught myself dialing his number on a phone and then it just like hit me. I'm like, oh fuck. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
And then as a dad, I also sympathize for the situation because, you know, I think he's also still in the denial phase of grief. You know, like I think it was probably like a shock for him that, oh my God, like my life has just flipped upside down, and he still has to put a brave face for the girl, and he still has to, you know, live life normally, because if not, and he falls into this rabbit hole of like grief and depression, like who's going to take care of the kid? I think in this situation is more so of like a lapse of frustrations just like brewing in and kind of just manifesting like in an outward voice. So make amends with your daughter. What you did of just kind of letting her be and letting her cry, maybe next time that happens, do better and just be there for your daughter, because then you guys can heal together and kind of just be there for each other, because at the end of the day, you're all you got, you know what I mean? So like you might as well use that opportunity to bond and use that opportunity of turning grief into sharing good memories of what you have with the wife and the mother. So I feel for OP. I also feel for the daughter. But you kind of was just a little off in this scenario, my guy.
Yeah. Well, that was beautifully said. I don't think I could say much more better than that for both of you. I think asshole, respectfully, just because.
Yeah, respectfully, for sure.
You were an asshole in this situation.
Yeah.
But it's understandable where you're coming. Like it is you're going through grief, like you guys said, and you've got to deal with that and become the parent for your daughter to help her through it as well. So OP does clarify, or not clarify, but talks a little bit more about some of the situations. And then there's a really good comment I found at the bottom. So OP says, of course I love my daughter, but I won't lie. It's hard being around her sometimes. She's a mini version of my wife, and sometimes the things she does just brings back painful memories.
He's hurt.
Oh, 100%, yeah. Like a week ago, she was sitting on the couch eating pizza and humming while watching her cartoons. That made me extremely emotional because my wife used to do that when she was pregnant with Clara. So I told Clara not to do that anymore.
Oh, man.
The teddy bear was my wife's childhood toy before she died. Looking at it just brings painful memories. I stored it in the attic, but my daughter found it and took it for herself despite being told that she can't have it multiple times. So clearly just trying to push down, like hide things that.
Yeah. It sounds like your daughter hasn't really been a brat so much as she's been trying to deal with it in her ways.
Yeah.
And it's completely different than how you're dealing with it in your ways. And
she's trying to like find comforting things
that remind her
of her mom.
It's because that was her coping.
Yeah.
My brother, therapy. That's all I could say. Oh, go ahead, Josh. Sorry.
So there was a commenter who commented on one of those there's because those were multiple different ones, but commented on one of them and said, here's the problem. She's a child and can't quite get a handle on her emotions. She wants a teddy bear to give her comfort and remind her of her mom. Here's where you're the asshole. Your feelings are not more important than hers. You've decided that she can't have the teddy bear because it makes you sad. Dude, you need to take your own advice, accept it, and stop acting like a baby. You need to be the grown-up, and your daughter doesn't have to be yet. She's still a baby. And I think that's where it's like, it's realistic advice. It's like, hey, stop being a baby. You gotta figure your shit out, get therapy. If you need someone to take care of your daughter for a little bit so you can figure that out, do that, because that's probably the best scenario. Have your mother-in-law or your parents take care of her for a little bit and go to therapy. Get your shit worked out so that you can be a good parent for your daughter.
Yeah. I mean, the grief is never going to end. So you have to learn how to live with it in a way that still allows you to be a good parent. Because, I already said everything I want to say. Like, you can't let your grief overtake your duties as a parent. You know what I mean? As bad as it sucks and as much as it's always going to be there, that kid is your responsibility. So it's different than a job. It's different from anything else. That's a life in your hands. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
really, think about what you're doing in situations like that.
Did they say how long the time elapsed since the wife
just
passed?
The wife had passed? Yeah, it's a few months.
Look,
yeah.
This is what my therapist has told me when I went. There's like a lot of times people who have lost a loved one, they often don't go to the therapist like after like 6 to 8 months after the fact. And that's just if they go to therapy. So that was kind of like the statistic that they gave me.
Yeah.
Therapy for sure will help, because I know in the beginning when I was having like a hard time, like every single memory, and this is just not my dad, this is a bunch of like other shit on top of that too. Really, when you go in there, like you come there with like baggage a lot, and you're going to come there sad. You're going to come there like just feeling like the worst, the things you just got hit. But the more you talk about it and the more you express your feelings in a positive manner, in a healthier manner, the more things will turn around for you. So all the little things before that reminded me of like my dad, my 2 dogs that passed away, it used to, I would just cry. I would just straight up break down and cry. But at this point where every time like I would see like my dog's urns or like, like some things that reminds me of dad, the way therapy healed me is when they were just like, hey, instead of being sad at this moment, take this opportunity to be like, hey, think of all the good memories that you've had because of this. So going to therapy will help you shift your mindset and give you better coping mechanisms to do that. So I feel for you, dude. Like, it's not going to heal like within months, it could be years, it could be never. And that's okay. But you just need to seek help. And like what Josh said, maybe have your mother-in-law kind of look for your daughter first, but help yourself so you can help your daughter, because she's still alive. She's still there. Continue the legacy that you and your wife like built together, and make sure she's set up to have a successful run as an adult. So she's more equipped, man. Like, she also lost a mother. So you're not the only one that lost someone that day.
Beautifully said, Jim. Expert in fucking, I don't know.
Great power. For the 5th time, it's your boy Sean.